This is part 2 of the series of high performance. Today we're going to be talking about being process oriented. And if you really imagine this whole series as very similar to maybe a peak performance athlete and what they do to be their best self when they're competing, process oriented means that in the process of preparing, let's say for some sort of big presentation or big deadline, you understand that the process is really what you can control. The work you put in is what you can control. It's very difficult to try to control what actually happens on the day you present, right? On the day you present, it could be you are sick and your voice doesn't sound very good, or maybe something happened with the microphone at the place you're presenting and it's not that good. You can't control those things. But realize that if you control all the things you can control, as in the preparation, the time you spend rehearsing maybe for the speech, you control all those things, then when you get to that part where you need to present, when you get to that part when it is game time, when there is a pressure situation, when you are having a very important meeting, or all those other things, it is way more likely that you will succeed and you will actually be able to execute and perform at the level you wanted to, versus if you don't prepare at all, you don't spend any time working at all. And this is really where we should, instead of hyper-fixating on, I need to give a really good speech, I need to give a really good speech, I need to give a really good speech, or I need to have this meeting go really well, I need to have this meeting go really well. If you just say that to yourself again and again, you're not doing anything. You're just repeating, there's no new information, you're repeating the same idea in your head again and again and again, and you're just fixating on this idea of success without doing anything constructive. And that's not actually going to lead you to success. When has it ever been that you just think about success and all of a sudden you just become successful? That's not how it works. You always have to put in the work. Same exact thing here with being process oriented, is that you want to, instead of just hyper-fixating on what success looks like, it's important to understand what success looks like, but you can't be thinking about it all the time. And instead redirect that energy into you know what? To ensure I do my best with and I have the highest chance of success, I'm going to focus all my energy on the process, right, of preparing and all this stuff, because that's what I can currently control. Focus on what you can control to increase the chance that later on, some other event will happen and you'll be successful at that. I think this may sound like a very simple concept, but the reality of the situation is that most people in this world will hyperfixate on the outcome and not the process. And as a result, being so outcome driven, they lose sight of what's actually important. Everybody just cares if they get an A on the test, which is good, right? It is important to get an A, but it's also if you prepare as much as possible, it's more likely you'll get an A. And even if you don't get an A, right, you will still be very prepared, and maybe there might be another test later on, or maybe this will help you in the future. There's no downside towards actually doing the work and being prepared. It will always equip you and improve you in some way. And a lot of people put so much emphasis on the outcome, the external vanity metrics, right? Because that is what the world rewards, right? But they don't understand that they also need to build themselves up a little bit. I would rather have a speech where I really prepared and maybe it didn't turn out perfectly as I thought it did, then maybe I don't prepare and then it turns out really good. Because what's the problem? If I don't prepare and it turns out really good, I think that's a good thing to do, so next time I'm not going to prepare. And it creates this negative cycle. And maybe that one time you just got really lucky, right? And you can't rely on that going forward. So that's why we need to be very process oriented to have high performance. You can't just rely on the one chance that maybe this is my lucky time. Maybe if I don't prepare everything, something will just magically happen in my favor. Well, we can sit here waiting for that magic to happen, or we can actually do the work and ensure that it goes the way we want it to go, or have the highest chance that it goes the way we want it to go. So many people are way too focused on the outcome and not the process. So if you can shift that, you can reduce a lot of your anxiety, reduce a lot of your mental clutter, also boost your confidence because you're actually preparing, right? So because you're preparing, you feel I'm more ready for this. And that also dispels a lot of the doubts you may have, a lot of the stress that comes into doing something that you're preparing for. And so really there's so many benefits for high performance, for being more process oriented than outcome oriented. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next part of the series.